Hey, what's up guys? So we're gonna cover just some quick rollerblading basics. Stuff that maybe an experienced rollerblader takes for granted, but for someone that's just getting the blades on and learning, this is something that they need to learn. So what we're gonna cover is just your dropping in, how to adjust your balance according to the ramps, the transitions, depending if you're skating more of a quarter or bowl or just a bank. So as you're coming up to the bank and you're approaching it, our inclination is to lean away from what we're afraid of. And what we're afraid of is ultimately falling down at the bottom of this. So we tend to lean back, which makes us fall backwards. So what I've come to find out in a lot of things is if you lean into your fear, which is I'm afraid of falling forward, if you lean appropriately into that, you will come out okay. So as you're dropping in, you're not wanting to lean back, you're wanting to adjust your weight and lean forward as such. You're gonna find which leg is your dominant leg. If it's your right leg back, then you're gonna wanna drop in with that leg forward, so that way as you transition into the bank, you adjust your balance as such. If it's left leg back, you do the same thing, just mirrored what I'm gonna teach you. So as you're coming up to the bank, you're gonna just step forward and drop it. A lot of times you're going to want to lean forward. When you're first doing this, you're probably not going to want to stand straight up. You're going to be more hunched down. So as you're coming up again, you're going to step in with your front foot, lean down. It's the integrity of your body and finding your balance point. Now that we found out or figured out how to go down a bank, we're going to go further down and I'm going to show you guys how to stop. Before we get there, stopping freaks people out on rollerblades. There's a funny quote that says, doing tricks doesn't make you a rollerblader. Knowing how to stop makes you a rollerblader. And it could be more true. You know, the other day I was at a skate park and this cute little guy's come bombing down into the out of the park and he's yelling, "Help me!" because he didn't know how to stop. He blew past his mom's minivan out into the parking lot and just freaked himself out. So let's learn how to stop. There's several different ways to stop. The basic way is your T-stop. So depending again if you're left foot or right foot, you're gonna make just a T and you can drag the negative down or you can drag the wheels. Dragging the wheels will make you have flat spots, not so fun, but it'll get you slowing down in case of an emergency. So again, you're just gonna go into a T. The other way is to flare your legs out wide. So you're gonna come out really wide and then bring your toes together. You see how I just stopped right there in front of the bank. So again, if I'm coming down, I know I got a lot of speed and I do this, I know I can come to a stop. Simple, but effective. The last stop, I remember teaching my son this. He had a little challenge of getting into this position, and it's the power slide stop coming from hockey. And basically you're gonna take the negative portion of your skate, the negative sole, and you're gonna slide it down on the ground and you're gonna hold this position. Now aggressive inliners call this a mizu. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your power slide and then you're dragging this foot around and then turning around. So again, you're gonna go into the power slide, drag, hop around. That kind of helps you regulate your speed. Again, if you're on a sidewalk, that probably is not gonna work. It's so narrow. Okay, so another thing I get asked all the time is how to drop in on rollerblades. I understand that can be really intimidating. You know, other sports such as skateboarding, scootering, BMX, they have the option when they drop in or when they're learning to drop in, that if it isn't going right, they can dump. They can get rid of their obstacle or their object, you know, the scooter, throw it away, the skateboard, run off of it, bike, jump over it, throw it off. Rollerblades, you're attached. So your only option is do it or fall. And that scares a lot of people. So whenever I'm teaching somebody how to drop in, I find that creating a safe environment for them to learn in is vital. Number one thing you can do is put a helmet on. You know, we have this notion in our sport, we forget that we're an extreme sport, you know, and wearing helmets sometimes comes off as you're afraid or you're fearful, or you know, it comes off as if you're more of a wuss or something. But when you're learning something that scares the hell out of you, it's either the option of put a helmet on and do it and try and learn, or hold hold yourself back, don't put a helmet on, and never move to that next step. I know I don't film often with helmets on, but I do put them on when I'm learning new tricks, especially when it comes into things that I experience fear in. So if this scares you, dropping in and learning how to transition from a flat surface down a surface to another flat surface, go ahead and just throw a helmet on, gear it up, and get over it. It's on, it's done. So what we're gonna do here is just like we did on the bank. Now remember, I talked about leaning into your fear. Your fear is you don't want to fall down there. So that's where you got to lean. As you're dropping in, you're going to take your first foot and you're going to just drop right in and bend your knee. So again, as I'm dropping in, I'm looking where I want to go. I know I don't want to go right there. I want to go further out. I'm going to bend my knees and absorb the concave of this quarter pipe and push my way down. It's a lot like riding on a swing. When you extend your legs out on a swing as you're pumping down through the swing, this is just going to be stepping forward and dropping in. And again, keeping that MMA or that martial arts stance, you know, where you're staggered in your legs. When you're straight up and down like a pencil, this is the most imbalanced position that you can be on rollerblades. Keeping your legs staggered, whether it's left foot back, right foot back, that keeps you balanced and stable and gets you not so vulnerable to falling. So now that we got the little quarter, we got the little bank, let's go up to the 6-foot quarter and drop that one in. Okay, again, it's the same thing. Same thing as the bank, same thing as the bowl. The only thing difference now is the visual acuities of it. The transition's a little higher, so now the brain starts doing all these tricks on you. It doesn't want to expose you to being hurt, so your brain's gonna try and tell you you can't do it. It's gonna try and stop you from moving forward in your progress. Scratch that out. You already proved to yourself that you can do it. So again, just don't think about it. Lean into your fear, bend your knees, absorb the drop, put your front foot forward, and just drop on in. Again, you're gonna lean with your front foot there, you're gonna step. Okay, so now that we've learned the fundamentals of dropping in, remembering to keep our knees and our legs loose, leaning into our fear, absorbing the transition, keeping your feet staggered so you're balanced. Now that we've learned all of that, how do you go up them? You know, again, what we fear is falling, I think, up the bank. You know, you trip up the stairs all the time. I know I do it. I'll grind down a handrail, trip walking up the stairs. It's just this weird thing. So what we do, again, is taking what we learned from when we were in the childhood playground of swinging. You know, when you're pumping on a swing, you learn this trick of how to go up higher and higher on the swing. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to transitions. As you're coming up a transition, you can pump your knees and your body in a way that keeps you moving and propelling up and forward. Again, you have to transition your body weight so you're centered as you get to the top, but this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so again, as I'm coming up the bowl or the transition, I'm bringing my hands from behind me and I'm putting them up, looking where I want to go. It's another big one that kids or beginners or anyone that's just learning how to do is they don't look where they want to go, they look where they're at.